Like the police officer got a little upset. He filed a privacy complaint and had the video removed. Oh man, I can't make it up, y'all. So what I'm gonna have to do is make this. I'm gonna have to fix the parts and then make this into a little 4-part series. That way, it's not as hard to fix if they try to do it again. They do try. I do love it when they resist. I love it. I really.
So, same deal on Tuesday as it was on Monday. Any work that you did for the patrol that day was masters related.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you compensated by anyone other than the patrol for your work that day?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, and I'm going to ask you this for every day.
I understand.
You did not work you were not working a second job. You were not compensated by anyone other than that lump sum payment that you got in December for the finder's fee.
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't paid an hourly wage.
No, ma'am.
There won't be a 1099 for any work done. Okay. How long did you stay at the AST house that day?
Probably 4 hours again.
Okay.
What was the 4 hours? When you say you were there, was it the off working or hanging out around there, or was that GSP time? I was unclear.
All right, I'm confused now myself.
Wait a minute. Okay.
What day are we talking about?
This is Tuesday.
Okay.
And you went 10:41 at 6 a.m. or 8
Sometime in the
a.m.
morning, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Went 10:41. You went to AST house, had breakfast, hung out, and if you weren't at the AST house, you were over at the golf course. You may have been talking with Captain Gay, who was there working the Masters, Emilio, who was there working the Masters.
Emilio was over at Lieutenant Blanchard's house when I saw him. Now, what he was doing, I don't know. He was just over there and I talked to him.
Okay, but Lieutenant Blanchard's house is much like AST house. It's a hospitality house, and it's affiliated with the Master.
Correct.
With Masters clients or
Yes,
whatever. And you went 10:42 either at 2
Sometime in the
p.m. or 4 p.m., but you still hung out at the AST?
I know I had dinner that night with Spiro sometime or another. I don't remember. I think late in the afternoon we went to Costco, and then we went to dinner that night around 6:30 or so.
Okay. So is it an accurate description to say that Tuesday was pretty much a reflection of Monday, in as much as, except for there were 8 hours of GSP time that was spent in and about the Masters area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Some of it was GSP related because you helped to coordinate the dignitary logistics, if you will. But for the most part, it was just hanging out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Wednesday.
Same thing.
Okay. 10:41, either at 6 a.m. or at 8 a.m.
Yes, ma'am. So I don't remember the exact time, but that would be about right.
Okay. And the majority of that 8 hours for the patrol was spent hanging out at AST.
And watching golf.
And watching golf.
There was the par 3 tournament. And I remember I was watching golf.
Okay. So the par 3 tournament, was that part of the actual, is that what you said, par 3?
Yeah, it's held at the National. They just advertise. They show it on TV.
Okay, but it's not part of the Masters, or is it a qualifying?
No. It's part of. It's just par 3 is just 9 little holes that are not part of a regular tournament.
That's what I'm trying to get at. It's not part of the regular tournament.
That's right. It's
okay.
not.
It's affiliated, but not a part of
Correct.
the Masters.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you remember anything you did for the patrol that day?
To be honest with you, I don't.
Okay.
And I would venture to say that it probably wasn't a whole lot of any damn thing because there wasn't much going on.
Okay. All right. Something just popped in my mind. It's my understanding that there are numerous law enforcement officers, both local and state, who have off-duty or secondary jobs during the Masters.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know who coordinates those kinds of things?
I do not.
Did you, as you did for ACE, did you do any of that for Spiro or any other company affiliated with that? Did you?
Did I handle police off-duty stuff? No, ma'am.
Right. Did you schedule anybody?
No, all the stuff that I did for ACE was civilian. They were drivers. They drove for people. I didn't do any police business at all.
Okay. So you did not in 2014. You didn't contact any other department employee or any other employee and say, hey, you want to earn some extra money, you can do this by working for this person. Call this person.
That doesn't stand out in my mind, Angie.
Okay.
It truly doesn't stand out. I'm not saying, people call me all the time about stuff, but I don't remember saying call this person and ask them for a job. There was a girl that called me and asked me for a job, but I told her I didn't. But she's not a law enforcement. She works as a secretary in the jail. But
okay, but you didn't do for anyone in 2014 what you had done for ACE in previous years, like coordinate a schedule of people working.
No, there was a what's his name? Mark Bringleson, who works for probation and parole. A month or so beforehand, he had worked for me at ACE, and I called him and I said, "Look, they're gonna need somebody to run their program. Would you and your wife be interested?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you know the people from Coors. You know them pretty good. They'd probably be okay with you." And so Mark handled all of that stuff with them. He was their person in charge of their program.
Okay.
He and his wife, and then Spiro supplied 2 bartenders, I believe, for that Coors group.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyone who worked off duty or secondary job or whatever, Mark would have been the one that scheduled them.
Yes, ma'am, not me.
Okay. Okay. And would it have been for AST or would it have been for another company?
No, it would have been. It was through ASTs who paid them.
Right. But is there a middleman, so to speak?
No.
Like
me? Are you trying to say me?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Like executive management?
Executive marketing?
Yeah, marketing.
No. I don't know anything. I know that Spiro and Louis Blanchard are friends, and they may even do some master's business together, but those are run as separate operations, and I don't think that one has to do anything with the other to be, but I don't know the inner financial workings or relationships.
Okay. But you have no financial interest in either company.
No, ma'am.
You're not a part owner.
I'm not.
You're not an executive. You're not a registered agent or anything like that.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, we've been through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Now we're at Thursday.
Now we're at
And the
Thursday.
tournament starts.
Okay. Same thing?
Same thing.
Okay. So you're still in your POV?
I am in my car.
Okay, and anything that that you do that day, whether it's for the patrol or not, is done in that location.
And I remember I went to the golf course that day because I went and bought something else. Matter of fact, I went and bought this tie that I'm wearing. And I shot the breeze with the police over there, and I followed up that day to make sure that whoever was going to be there, that had gotten set up, because I knew we were. I called Brandy and told Brandy I wanted to take off the next day. I wanted to take 4 hours of comp the next day. She said, the major's not here, the captain's not here, just submit it. I'm sure they'll approve it.
Okay. And did you do that?
I did.
And how did you send that email? On your phone?
No,
or?
I went, that day, I went to the golf course in the middle of the day. I went home, I changed clothes, I put my uniform on, I went to my office, I went to the radio room, I checked on something at the radio room. I can't remember what it was. We'd had problems with either the computers or the radios themselves. I went to my office. I sent it via the computer. I checked all my email. I did a little bit of stuff. I think I left. It was getting dark. Not dark, but it was getting dusk, so to speak. It was probably, I want to say 6:30ish or so.
So you actually did some state patrol work on Thursday.
I did.
After lunch, maybe.
It was sometime in the afternoon, yes, ma'am.
And again, were you compensated for any of the time that you spent?
I got all the money I got in December.
You submitted a leave request on Thursday for 4 hours of compensatory time on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
What time did you take that compensatory time?
I don't remember.
Morning, afternoon?
It was in the afternoon because I went 10-8 that morning. I'm pretty sure.
So same Friday morning or same
I went to breakfast.
in your POV,
Mm-hmm.
hanging out?
Because I knew that day there was a chance that I was going to go to the airport to take somebody to the airport that was leaving to go home, and I didn't want to be in my patrol car. I didn't want to have to go back home and change clothes.
Okay.
So I drove my car down there, and I was going, but it turned out I didn't have to go to the airport.
Okay, let me see if this is correct. With the exception of Thursday, Monday through Friday,
I did very little work.
well, you were in civilian clothes,
Yes, ma'am.
in your personal vehicle, with the exception of Thursday, when sometime in the afternoon you drove your POV to your residence, changed into your uniform, got in your patrol car, and went to the post in Grovetown.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's where your office is.
It is.
Okay. So you had no arrangement with Captain Marlowe, Captain Young, or Major Grier for anything that you did.
Right.
Okay.
I was wrong.
Were they? Well, yeah. Were they aware of any of the VIP state officials, the state patrol involvement in that?
I don't know whether they were or not, because
Okay.
normally what happens for the last number of years, everybody knows if you need something in Augusta related to Masters, people just called me. When Cap Masterman was around, he did the same thing. He just said, call Donnie, Donnie will take care of it.
Okay.
So most of those requests just came straight to me.
So it is your statement that you were not working a second job during the Masters.
No. I was there.
Yeah, got that.
Got
I got that.
And those people are my friends, and I hung out up there a lot, and I shouldn't have been up there. But, all the money I got for that deal, I got in December. The only other money I got involved the buying and selling tickets. But that's something that I did January, February, March. People call me all the time and sell me tickets, and I buy tickets and sell tickets. So,
You're a scalper.
a legal scalper.
Oh, okay. Well, again, I want to clarify. The finder's fee that you were paid in December, were you contractually obligated
To do anything?
to provide services during the Masters?
No.
So it is because of the finder's fee and your relationship with Spiro, you felt an obligation or a commitment to hang out without compensation?
Because he's my, and the police that work around there, the ones that are wherever they're from, there's 2 or 3 hospitality houses, Executive Marketing, Spiro's Place, they feed them for free. These guys are from out of town, they're from Greene County, some of them from the patrol from Atlanta, wherever. And it's like a big frat kind of place, for lack of better terms. People come in and out, people come and eat, people shoot the breeze, people watch TV, they cool off when they've been out directing traffic. Both places, we did it at Ace when I was over there. We welcomed them in, we fed them, so on.
So would you characterize it as just someplace you wanted to be, as opposed to being obligated to be there, or being
Because it was
compensated to be
because it
there?
was fun.
Okay.
And that's just the truth of the matter. They got big screen TVs. There's an upstairs up there. We had 2 leather couches. You could go up there. You could hang out. You talk on the phone. You could be comfortable. There wasn't anybody bothering you. It was just, it was a place to hang out.
All right. Are you an employee of Spiro Papadopoulos?
No, ma'am.
Are you an employee of Michael McDonald?
No.
Okay. And the only compensation you received from AST was in December?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was that finder's fee for helping them
For sending
contract
That's
the
right.
client of Molson Coors.
Yes, ma'am.
The buying and selling of tickets, is that done in affiliation with anyone else?
No,
Does anybody pay you other than the ticket buyers? Do you pay anyone else other than the ticket sellers?
No, it's a hand-to-hand kind exchange.
Have you ever submitted a request for secondary employment with AST?
No, ma'am.
You've already said that your normal hours are either as a troop officer, 6A to 2P, or 8A to 4P.
Alan's been always good to us, and he would say, just work whatever you want to work. There's times when Doug and I both, and I don't want to bring Doug into that. Let me retract that, because that's Doug's business. There's times when all of us have maybe worked 4 hours, and then we had something to do in the middle of the day, and we took off, and then we came back and worked 4 hours that night. A lot of times when we have special details, we'll work in the morning, we'll go home, we'll come back that night.
Well, that's called part of the job. I get all that. That's good. Let's see. Did you, well, I won't even go there. The hours that you carried on your leave accounting system timesheet, formerly known as the 617, those were the, is it accurate to say those were the hours that you considered yourself to be on duty or
ma'am.
on call from the patrol when in actuality you did?
I didn't do anything.
Okay, all right,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. Assing off, that's what we called it.
You know, Angie, as well as I do, that's not what we called it.
No, that's what I called it. All right, well, let me ask you this. Have there been times that you as a county commissioner have attended county commission meetings on duty or in uniform or in your government vehicle?
I've never attended a county commission meeting in uniform.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall ever attending one while I was on duty. I think I drove my car down there a couple times because the marshal, Steve Smith, was looking to buy a new car, and he wanted to look at my black Charger that I had.
Okay. When did you get your regular vehicle back? Was it, you said maybe April or May?
It was in the middle of April. Matter of fact, I think it was right after Masters, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember the exact date, but it was the shop obviously can tell you that information.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Your MDT,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any other computer other than your MDT?
I do. I have a desktop Dell that's but it's at my office.
Okay. When you get out at your office, do you take your MDT out of your patrol car and take it into the office?
No, because I have my Dell my Dell computer. The
Okay.
only time that my MDT was in my office was the 6 weeks or however long it was. I had that spare car from MCCD.
Okay.
I truly have a hard time with the MDT, and I've been so accustomed to that old Dell that I've always used it in my office.
Yeah. I may need to look up something and clarify it before I end the interview completely. But your turn.
Lieutenant, going back to some of the days, there's been a couple of things in my note taken here that I'm not real clear on. Okay. Give me just a second here to kind of speed read back through it. Particularly really on Thursday I do remember we were talking about Thursday, and now one thing about AST, who is considered a front man? I mean, I know, or the front person. I shouldn't say front man. That's a sexist remark. But the front person that handles all these guests.
Spiro.
Spirit would. Okay. How available was he for AST that week, that entire week?
I mean, he was there from early in the morning until he's a hands-on guy. He shuts everything down. His partner McDonald, who I had never met until Masters, I didn't know him at all. I think McDonald is kind of an organizing guy. I'm not really sure what his role is because I didn't have a lot of interaction with him.
Okay. So Mr. Papadopoulos he's the front person.
Mm-hmm.
In your observations, what does he do in that role? I mean, what's his?
I mean, he's the owner, and I think he's kind of like I think he does everything. He tells people what to do, and he greets his clients, and he does. I mean, he's just kind of like it's kind of like orchestrating ants or something. I mean, he's just kind of like the guy that does all that stuff.
At any time during that week, did you perform any of those duties that he would normally perform there? I mean, the greeting or anything like that?
The only people I would greet was the guys that I knew from Molson. I mean, when they came down on Thursday, when they flew in from Canada, I met them and talked to them and hugged them, and they told me about their families, and we shot crap and that kind of stuff.
All right. When the Molson group came in, do you remember what time they got there?
I don't, because they came at staggered times. I mean, they didn't all come at one time. They came, some flew in on one plane, some flew in on another plane. They didn't all just like show up at one time.
How did they arrive when they arrived there? Do you remember?
And I wasn't there, when every one of them arrived, but I know that one or two had a car. Arrangements had been made in their contract for them to have transportation. So there were 2 vans that they paid for, and Mark and Tammy were the drivers of those vans.
I know you remember that day you went and bought a tie. You remember, talking with different people during the day. Remember talking to Miss Brandy about the leave request. There's a fair amount of details for Thursday that you can remember.
Because I was actually doing something that other than just hanging out doing nothing. When you're bored and you got nothing going on, there ain't a whole lot to remember.
And that was your group, the Molson group, that you got to find these people.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm searching for is about what time do you remember doing these activities at AST that day?
It's probably, I know I ate breakfast over there. I mean, I ate breakfast there every morning. I ate lunch there just about every day. I don't remember.
Let me shift back to the GSP business. That may be easier for you to remember. The actual times that you was doing the GSP business on that Thursday. Can you help me with that?
Whatever time I went to work, but it wasn't a great deal of stuff. I mean, I've admitted and told y'all that. I mean,
Well, and I think what he's trying to get is just an approximation
Right.
of the number of hours you actually perform GSP work. 4 hours, 2
I
hours.
probably would think around 10, because I was eating breakfast and shooting the shit. And, I would, if I had to guess, I would say around 10.
a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So about 2 hours, 4 hours.
I read the paper.
No. I'm talking about that you actually, what time, from the time you went home and changed into your uniform, got in your G-Ride, till the time you came back to the AST house, how many hours was that?
Maybe somewhere around 3.
Okay. All right.
That's the best I can.
10 to 3, roughly.
No,
No,
3
no,
hours.
no.
3
3
hours.
hours.
3 hours.
I went out to the post after 3.
Okay.
It was after 3, because the evening shift to the radio room had already come on duty.
I got you. All right.
Okay, so, and you probably hung around there until 6, maybe?
6:30 or 7. I know this. It was getting dusk.
And then you went home, changed back into your clothes,
Went
your
to-
civilian clothes.
And went to dinner at Luigi's, I think.
I love Luigi's. So you went with Spiro that night to dinner?
And a guy named Jake Busby, and I can't remember who the other. Seems like there was somebody else who went with us, but I don't remember who it was, to be honest with you.